Tonight, the Democrats. Do they in fact do nothing, or are they simply madly in love with the status quo? Could the solution be meeting somebody new like that absolute snack Zohran Mamdani? Find out tonight on America, the Podcast, the animated series.
Hello, America! It's America, the Podcast!
Do you really think he'll get rid of free speech?
No, that's borderline impossible. At worst, this whole ordeal will be a combination of McCarthy-era policies and Operation Racial Slur from Dwight D. Eisenhower with a dash of the political violence of the 1970s.
So the worst parts of the last 70 years?
At least those dreadful decades brought about a lot of fantastic music.
True, and despite everything, a lot of social and scientific progress.
Indeed, but now it seems all of that progress has come to a screeching halt.
Yeah, between cutting Medicaid and all the scientific research, the Republicans are destroying everything.
Oh no, my friend, you can't blame the Republicans for this one. That's like blaming a rabid raccoon for biting you. America knew what it was getting into when it voted loud and clear to let the patients control the asylum and all of the nuclear weapons the asylum has. The GOP has shown this great nation a winning playbook for years, and the left has ignored it. So, much like those sycophants at Fox News, I blame the Democrats for America's current condition. Just not for the same reasons, obviously.
Part of me wants to argue back, but part of me also feels like I might agree with you.
Of course you do. As our viewers and podcast listeners know, my opinions are perfect. One of those opinions being that the Democrats may be guilty of a lot, but their biggest crime is one of inaction. Since their leader was elected in 2024, the Democratic Party has become a shadow of what it once was. But again, it is my perfect opinion that despite their lust for the status quo, almost all Democrats have at least some versions of a conscience and can be pushed more toward a progressive line of thinking. All it takes is for their loosely held beliefs to be half challenged, or if that doesn't work, you just need to resort to their kryptonite: shame. Which now brings me to my long-running segment, My Perfect Opinion. Listen, I like the Democrats as much as the next person, so not a lot actually. Sure, there are some that are regularly fighting the good fight, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Bernie Sanders to name a few, but they're not really Democrats. They're progressive democratic socialists who have to fly the Democrats' flag since socialism is terrifying to Americans despite our great nation benefiting from socialist policies every single day. We'll get into that in a different episode, but as for the true blue bought and sold Democrats, they are a different breed. There was a time when the Democrats were on top, wearing 10 suits and bolstering the very tech industry that eventually brought them crashing down. Now the Democratic Party of Obama has shriveled into a husk of its former self, controlled by a gargoyle who can't seem to get a pair of glasses with a nose grip, and a man whom I would assume is a Westworld if not for... well, I can't really think of a reason. Someone should check Hakeem Jeffries for some sort of exhaust port or even a positronic brain.
I feel like we'd be better off if he did have a positronic brain.
Indeed, you may be right. After losing the 2024 election, the Democrats played out their expected blame game. Everything from blaming the party's focus on social issues to the party being accused of not going far enough on those issues to former President Biden failing to put his ego aside and be the transitional president that America needed. Granted, I too had a similar hot take for the Democrats' loss, but unlike the rest of you, I was right as usual. In my perfect opinion, it was the majority of people's lack of faith and understanding in the economy compounded with the 90 million people that didn't vote when there was an active threat. Fight me. Anyway, after the dust settled, the Democrats got right to work fighting for the people by accomplishing fantastical feats such as writing a strongly worded letter to the president, embracing their cringy side by making social media videos that are so bad I feel embarrassed for them, voting to censure a member of their own party for standing up to President Trump, hanging out in Israel to promote a despot wanted by the International Criminal Court, and so much more. And it's no surprise these please for the love of God do anything Democrats have hit a 35-year low in their approval rating, which itself adds to my perfect opinion that the American people have lost all faith in the Democratic Party. The right wing has decided to focus on straw man arguments while gaslighting the population about the Epstein files, the recent government shutdown, and grocery prices. Their people buy into it hook, line, and sinker, either due to lack of critical thinking skills, a cult mentality, embarrassment for being wrong about their choices, which we've covered in a recent episode, or a combination of all three. I, of course, am simplifying, but the right tends to only want simple answers for anything and everything. See reason 1. And then, like clockwork, the left wing takes the right's bait while their leaders fight back with strongly worded letters. I can't and won't get over the letter thing. So dumb. Meanwhile, when it comes time to vote, some go with a third party with no chance of winning, and some even decide not to vote at all. Of course, a large number of votes were prevented due to the voting restrictions put in place by the GOP, but many eligible voters were still either apathetic about their choices or the viable candidate simply didn't meet their definition of perfection. The right-wing leopards may be eating each other's faces, but the left are very quickly eating their own tails when they should be striking back hard and fast like the blue-collar cobras they need to be. Now, I need to be clear when I say pushing to become a blue-collar party of the people doesn't mean abandoning marginalized people. Just because a subject makes a bigot feel icky doesn't mean the Democratic Party must abandon those whose civil rights are currently sub-basic at best. Part of a politician's job is changing hearts and minds. You can still fight for the working American while making the country safe for immigrants, the LGBTQ+ community, and school children, all while housing the homeless. To the left-wing leadership, I know it's scary, but you may need to do the hard thing and stop cupping the sacks of billionaires. To the left-wing constituency, there may still be an election in 2026, so I implore you to vote for anyone who is not a fascist. Nobody is perfect, not even you. People are complicated, and politics is a game that you must play while fighting for a better society. Remember that in the voting booth. And again, I realize that may be hard when an overly confident man is loudly proclaiming he can fix grocery prices through semi-tough financial times, but take what has been happening as a litmus test for right-wing populism's economic ideas, which, to be clear, are not working for the average American and will continue to benefit people in the billionaire class like me and Elon Musk, who is now worth $500 billion. And it doesn't help that a huge swath of the population has been brainwashed into believing that billionaires have their best interests in mind, and as a billionaire, I can tell you we do not. In less than a year into Trump's presidency, his family has made billions in crypto schemes and handed almost all of your personal data over to that almost trillionaire Elon Musk and the man voted most likely to be the Antichrist Peter Thiel, who, with the help of his buddy Alex Karp, has weaponized America's data against its people through their Palantir system. You know, the thing named after the creepy all-seeing orb from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. And to be abundantly clear, these alarms were sounded loudly and for several years, and still 90 million Americans didn't vote for a myriad of reasons. So, next time there is an election, again, if there even is another one, remember to vote your conscience. And I say that assuming, nay believing that the majority of Americans are good people. Although since a portion of the right wing is now claiming empathy is a sin, I'm actually not too sure. So, all of that being perfectly said, how can you, the Democrats, fix this? Yes, I'm talking to you directly, DNC. Stop making your cringy TikTok videos and pay attention.
Oh my god, their social media game is so bad.
Yes, that's exactly my perfect point. On top of shoving aside any and all well-liked progressive candidates that their constituents clearly yearn for, the Democrats are also losing the so-called influence game. Currently, the right wing has a plethora of influencers who gleefully helped Donnie get elected, some of them now to their own chagrin. On a basic level, both in influence and intelligence, the internet has the manosphere, which is not a ball filled with men. I was very disappointed when I found that out. Actually, note to self, invest in a ball of men. Anyway, the social manosphere contains influential people like comedians Theo Von and Joe Rogan, who amplified right-wing voices throughout the 2024 election, and even attended Trump's inauguration. These free-thinking dude bros play ignorant by saying they're just normal guys, or, in the case of Joe Rogan, in his own words, a f***ing moron. But then there are those like Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, Tim Pool, and Steven Crowder who used their voices and influence to indoctrinate the minds of a generation of lonely boys and men during the lockdown years. Some of them even took money from Russian media to push certain talking points which they all allegedly knew nothing about. But what of the status quo Democrats? Who do they have? Well, there's Ezra Klein, who has seemingly turned into a right-wing apologist, late-night comedians who seem to be a dying breed, and even California Governor Gavin Newsom, who, while expertly trolling Donald Trump and his MAGA cult, has also seemingly cozied up to the right wing while simultaneously throwing trans people under the bus. Something that appears to be a regular occurrence amongst Democratic leaders. But then again, we do of course have progressive-leaning media sources like Midas Touch, Cute News, Democracy Now!, Second Thought, and The Majority Report, but most of them are pasty nerds, and 3 of them are cartoon characters who live in the backrooms. Is there no one on the left that can break into the manosphere?
Well, what about Hassan Piker and the alt-left pipeline?
The alt-left pipeline?
Yeah, it's essentially a movement where leftists and progressives are trying to take back traditionally masculine things that the right has tried to claim as their own while still advocating for progressive values.
Do you think I could join this alt-left pipeline?
I don't know, man. You're pretty capitalist.
Yes, but like it or not, capitalism is required to get politically ahead. Plus, I just like being involved in things.
All right, fair enough. Well, do you like cars?
Indeed, I actually own one of every car ever made, as heard in our series Road Trip, A Journey Across America.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, do you like classically masculine things like guns and blowing shit up?
As the founder of the Deep State, I have armories in every American city and have personally and accidentally started several wars.
All right, I'll take that as a yes.
An emphatic yes.
Okay, do you like America? Yeah, stupid question.
Well, the word I'm thinking of you can't say anymore.
Got it. Do you like sports?
Indeed, I'm very into boxing, MMA, football, anything with brain injuries, really. I make a lot of money on MRI machines. I also enjoy the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh yeah, me too. The Mavs, not the brain injury stuff. Do you like working out?
Of course, I exercise every day. Have you not seen my thirst trap pics?
Huh. All right. Beard?
Oh yes, unlike Pete Hegseth, I believe all Americans, no matter your age or gender, should have a full beard, like the dwarves of Tolkien.
Do you really believe that?
No, I'm just excited to be part of the alt-left pipeline.
All right. Well, aside from all of the various physical characteristics and recreational interests, do you believe that abortion is healthcare, all Americans should have access to housing, healthcare, and food, and that women and LGBTQ folks should have equal rights?
Yes, yes, and yes, especially since all of those things would help bring in trillions of American dollars into our American economy, thereby making them objectively the most capitalist things one can do. Still don't get how Republicans don't understand this.
Amen. Do you believe that the wealthy should be taxed? Theb?
Well, I would be more fine with it if my money went to social programs that benefit and embolden Americans instead of going to fight wars that only benefit arms dealers.
Fair enough. Kinda shocked you don't make money in weapons, though.
Well, I didn't say that. The weapons I invest in are used on other planets.
Should you have told me that?
Nope.
Okay then, well, would you be willing to advocate for a system that would put your money to better use?
Well, considering that's the point of being a fiscal conservative, I would have to say Indeed.
Well, bud, I think you have officially entered the alt-left pipeline.
Huzzah! I feel like I've been spiritually and politically saved. I think this calls for a gym workout. Come, Timothy, grab some creatine and let us hit the gym to post pictures of our gains while promoting the equal rights of all Americans.
I just ate.
Well, then you can spot me until you digest. As for you, the American viewing audience and the lesser world at large, I encourage you to also hit the gym during this commercial break. Remember, you must stay healthy to fight fascism, which the act of doing so is sort of illegal now. Whatever, this has been my perfect opinion, and we'll be right back.
It's America, the podcast.
America is brought to you by golf courses. Golf courses promoting classism and wasting water in one stroke. Under par, that is. Golf courses available wherever freedom is sold. Offer not valid to the poor.
It's America, the podcast.
And we're back here at the end of my perfect cartoon episode.
Did you ever think throughout all your years as a conservative you would ever join the left?
I did not. I am but a lone rhino wandering through the wilderness.
Republican in name only?
Indeed, the Republican Party is as dead as Ronald Reagan. And for better or worse, hopefully for the better, the Democrats still have a bit of life in their party. Ironically, the Democrats can be like the tech bros they bolstered and just simply inject themselves with new, younger blood. New York mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is a good start. But keep your eyes on people like James Tallarico of Texas, Kat Abu-Ghazaleh of Illinois, Graham Planter of Maine, and the return of an America the Podcast favorite, Cori Bush of Missouri. And maybe there's hope that the Democrats could even take a page out of the newly revived Committee for the First Amendment, an organization that was founded during the McCarthy era that aims to protect the free speech of the citizens of this great nation. But you, my fellow Americans, you need to keep your eyes and brains informed. I realize life is complicated for all of you, but it will get a whole lot more complicated if you stay blind and deaf to the plight of your neighbors while saying and doing nothing. Your comfort zone will be breached eventually if it hasn't been already. You need to be prepared and clear-headed. Again, if there is an election in 2026, you need to be cautious of the leaders and representatives you choose. Otherwise, well, present-day Hungary, China, Russia, and 1930s Germany would like a word. Thanks for watching, my friends. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube for our cartoon series or your favorite podcast app for the audio version of this perfect episode. You can follow us at America the Podcast on TikTok and Instagram for video messages and clips. I will be in your eyes and ears again soon. For now, and as always, good night and good fight.
It's America, the podcast.